you feel like there are certain things in your life that just feel impossible, right? You want something, and yet there's that belief in you, that feeling in you that you can't have it. It's just impossible. And it could be you wanting to sprout, horns or whatever it is, right? And then you'll think about it once, and then you may frustrate you, but then it will just go away. But there are those experiences where, or there is that need or that desire that you have that seems to come back over and over again. Over and over again, you feel that it's impossible, and yet it doesn't let you go. And if you find yourself in that situation and you think, you believe that it's impossible, maybe the reason why that situation is coming up is for you to realize that it's actually possible. Because otherwise it wouldn't be coming back to you. I mean, unless, and that's what most of us think, unless we think that we are in a universe that will taunt us with a desire, will, seed or will plant a desire in us and then say, now you're going to get frustrated because you'll never have it. Unless you think that that's the universe that we live in, then maybe if it feels impossible, it's because, and it's coming up over and over again, it's because there's actually a possibility there and you're not seeing it. Okay? So you have something that you want. It comes up. It feels impossible. And you have proof, right? You have proof. I mean, you've got, it's impossible. I mean, you don't even question it, right? That's how sure you are that it's impossible. That's a clue for you. Because why aren't you questioning it? Why aren't you facing it and going into it? I know, many people around you are telling you that it's not possible. And yet, maybe it's time to trust yourself. Maybe it's time to trust that maybe it is possible. Maybe there is something there that you need to see. And that's why it's insisting. It's coming back over and over again. So what you need to do in that moment, what you usually would do in that moment, let's start from there. Let's start from reality. What happens in that moment usually is that you look at it, it comes up, right? It's impossible, and then you turn away. You try to distract yourself. You start talking about how impossible it is and, how you feel victimized by that. Or you start telling yourself that you shouldn't want it, so you're persuading yourself out of it. Like you start rationalizing, why would I want it? I have so much more, gratitude and all that. I should be humble, whatever it is that you use. And these are strategies. These are strategies that are actually taking you away from facing what it is that is coming up. And incredibly, these are strategies that are keeping you away from the possible. Right? Because you're not facing it. You're running away from it. I mean, if you run away from it, how can it be possible? Right? So this time when it comes up and you are 100% sure that it's impossible, and because you're a believer in that moment, right? You believe the thought it's impossible. That's it. I mean, if you believe something, it is going to be that way, right? That's how it is. In that moment, I just want you to delve into the one that believes that it's impossible. You're not trying to change that part of you. You're not trying to change the belief. Nothing. You're just curiously delving into it. It's like you are letting it take over. And the reason why you're doing that is because you want to understand it. You want to know what it's about. It's part of you, right? If it is part of you, why would you want to abandon it? And when you do abandon it, it doesn't feel good. So that's a clue for you. But when you start going into it, the first thing is that you will feel resistance because you're not used to it, right? It's going to be like, what? How do we do that, right? So you remember the moment. You bring back into your mind's eye the person, the situation, whatever it is that makes you feel that what you want is impossible, right? So you bring it up, and then you start feeling into your body and seeing what it is in your body, what's happening in your body. Because that impossibility, that thought, that belief, it's not possible, will manifest itself in a sensation in your body, right? And it's very important to go there because now you know what to hold on to, what to ground yourself in. Because a thought, what will you do with a thought, right? I mean, you have a belief it's impossible. How do you work on it? There's nothing tangible about it, right? But now you're going back into your body. And there you will see that every thought, belief, emotion, whatever it is, state, it manifests itself or it incarnates in a particular sensation in your body. So you take a deep breath, you let that memory come flat. There's something happening in your body. And you start becoming aware of it. You don't want to change it. At first, you may want to change it. The micromanager will come, let me change it and it will become possible. And then I won't have to feel it. I don't want to feel. But, even if that comes up, just feel into it. How does it come up? I mean, that micromanager, how does that part manifest itself in you? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in the tightening of your throat or whatever it is, right? So you go there. And one of the ways you can deal with it, deal with the resistance with the micromanager, because it's trying to help you, right, in that moment. It's by trying to be like anchoring yourself in your breath, right? You feel the breath coming in and out. And from there, you just see, you're becoming aware of the fact that, your heart is pumping and there's something happening there. There's a constriction or whatever it is that you're feeling. It's cold, whatever. And you're just letting it live its life out. It's just unfolding. It's living, everything comes and goes, right? So that is coming up. And as you're just aware of the sensations in your body, suddenly you'll start realizing that those sensations are talking to you. There's going to be an image, there's going to be something else, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter in that moment. You're just letting it happen. And as you do that, you will completely and utterly understand what that part is telling you. What it is that is impossible. Right? And when you see that, it's one way of showing you that is, it's like you're in front of a wall. You want something that is behind that wall. And now this wall is in front of you. And so you look at the wall and, you're like, oh my God, there's this wall. I mean, it's, you can feel it. It's there. It's impossible. When you start doing this work, when you start feeling into it and feeling the sensations and detaching and seeing that you are not the impossible, you are not the sensations, that they are the ones happening in you, that there is a part of you that feels that it's impossible. It's not you who are the impossible, or however, who is impossible, or whatever. I don't know how to say that. But anyways, I think you know what I mean. When you start detaching, that wall also will detach. And suddenly from seeing things, from a very limited perspective, you start seeing more and more about the wall. You become very curious about the wall. And as you become curious, as you touch it, feel it, know it, you're like, oh, there's a latch, maybe, and the wall goes up. Or maybe you'll start seeing from a detached place, from up above, or, from a detached place. Then you start seeing, oh my God, the wall actually ends here, and there's, this way I can go, and you'll start seeing, it's amazing what happens in that moment. It's funny, actually. And so you start, because in that moment you are expanding. You're going from the one that is a believer, from the one that thinks everything is impossible and small and constricted. You're going to the one that is holding that. And now you're seeing things from such a wider perspective. You're also pushing the envelope, right? You are expanding, you're knowing more. You are letting, it's like, you're like this universe that is just swallowing the rest of itself, and becoming bigger and bigger. And so, for example, let me give you an example that can happen. Let's say that you look at the mirror and you look at yourself and it's like, oh my God, I look old. I look ugly. I'll never change. I'm this, I'm that, whatever it is. And that's exactly the memory or the experience you need to work on, right? So you plunge into it, and and the impossibility is that I'll never like myself. I'll never relish myself, right? I'll never be fine with myself. That's the impossibility. And you go into it. And as you go into it, what will happen is that one of the things that can happen is that you'll start seeing things that you like about yourself. Another thing that can happen is that you'll start seeing that in your mind's eye, you have a picture of yourself, of you 10, 20 years ago. And it's time to change it. And the impossibility is this feeling of restriction, right? So that restriction is you holding yourself in one place forever. No part of you wants to stay like this, wants to stay in one image forever. You're here to evolve, you're here to change. And that's why it's telling you, you can't feel good, you'll never like yourself if you keep yourself in one age forever and ever. The other one is, you can't keep yourself liking yourself, like in that place only. You literally, the impossibility is because you're restricting yourself. And when you come out of that restriction, now suddenly you start enjoying so many parts of you. You start also seeing that when you enjoy yourself, other people actually enjoy you, and other people enjoy the way you look. So you start going towards people that like you. And now, do you see how you start expanding in ways that you just would never have imagined before? Let me give you another example. For example, you feel rejected, right? So you feel rejected and it's just impossible. Whatever you do, that person is going to reject you. And maybe the way they reject you is they don't understand you. They don't want to listen to you. They don't want to give you what you want, right? And as you plunge into it, you bring that person into your mind's eye and you work through it. You literally go into it. You become curious about it. You may start realizing that you come from the belief that you can't be accepted as you are. And that you automatically, because you have that belief, you automatically get attracted by people who just can't understand you. It's not their, they just don't have the means to understand you. It's like they have a completely different interest. They have a completely different path in this life. So that's why their energy doesn't click with yours. And because of the belief that you have that you will never be understood, will never be heard, will never be liked for who you are, will never be valued, you will latch onto them because that's the only thing you know. And the impossibility, so that feeling of restriction is that experience telling you when you come from that place and when you need to convince others to like you, to value you, whatever it is, that's restrictive. That can't feel good, right? That's the unwanted. So when you start seeing that, now you let go of these people. They don't attract you anymore. That belief is not there anymore. I mean, you've gone through it. You've dissolved it, right? By being aware of it. And now you start becoming more, instead of restricting yourself, instead of focusing on how to, change them, how to manipulate them into liking you, into this and that, and it's restrictive and you're not showing up as you are. Now you're opening up to others and you're completely being yourself. And by being yourself, you attract people you don't have to convince. You attract people that choose to come to you. They just choose it because their energy is aligned with yours. Right? So let me stop it here. To wrap it up, if something feels impossible, if it comes up over and over again, if these experiences of impossibility come up over and over again, they're not there to haunt you, they're not there to make your life miserable, they're not there to show you that you're powerless. They're there to show you that there is another way, that there is a possible way, and that you're not looking at it. And so in order to get there, you need to understand the impossible. You plunge into it, you understand it, and you will know how to make what you want possible. Okay, if you have any comments, any questions, let me know down below. If you want to work personally with me, there is a link down below. See you in my next video.